Well, once again, we are here, Brian,
And Sara.
Oliver.
Oliver.
Oh my God, here we go again. We're going to get this straight. And we are here with our podcast conversations with Brian and
Sara.
Oliver.
Whee! We did it.
And yeah, we're going to get it right. We're going to get it right. And today, our topic is going to be on
Parenting.
Parenting. I just had a senior moment. I know I look 25, but I'm a little bit above that. Probably 26 and a half, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
A little bit above that.
For sure.
We're going to talk about parenting on today. Mm-hmm. And I know that it's going to be a good topic because everybody, baby, I'm found out, has a different parenting style.
Yeah.
You know, is one style better than another? We're going to dive deep into it or a little bit today. And we want to see exactly what's going on with parents on today. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Just share with me some of the things that you've seen.
Some of the things that I've seen?
In parenting.
Well, there's a lot of parents who say that they get caught up in wanting to be their child's best friend. Mm-hmm. So then there's the blurring of the lines between, well, who's the parent? Are you a parent? Are you a friend? How much, authority do you have? How much, where is that line between being friends and being parents? And can parents and children be friends? Like, how does that work? That's probably one of the biggest things.
That's a big one. That is a big one because, I mean, a lot of what I've seen nowadays is parents are trying to be their kids' friend. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with being their friend, but in certain situations, or a lot of situations, when do you become the parent?
Right. Because
if that kid is 7 years old, I mean, don't you think it's a little weird you're 35 trying to be a great best friend to a 7-year-old?
Well, I know someone might be offended by this, and I apologize if it's offensive to you and this is how you feel, but for me personally, my kids are not like my best friends. I have never felt that sentiment where people are like, this is my best friend. And I'm like, it's 6 months old. Okay. Like, how much can you actually have to be a friend with a 6-month-old baby?
Right.
Or even a 7-year-old baby. I mean, having a great relationship is one thing, but as far as like being a friend or like best friend or bestie with an infant, I don't get it. I don't think that's that wouldn't work for me.
I know. I lived in a place, I'm not going to call a state's name, but I knew a few of the mothers that went to the clubs with their daughter that was old enough to go to the clubs.
Wow. And
so they were partying together.
But I feel like that's different. I mean, if your child is already like an adult, then you can have a little bit more common ground. I think the older your kids get, maybe the more common ground that you might have or common interests. But as far as, I don't know, maybe I just think of the definition of a friendship or a best friend differently. But I can't be best friends with my 2-year-old. Well, that's just me. But there again, I mean, but our kids are a little bit older now. But even at that, like, friends, I mean, but and so people who know me or who know us know that I don't really like kids. I never ever have. And don't act like you don't know. But like, I don't really like kids. There's just a lot. Kids are not my favorite, beings on the planet, shall we say.
She wanted cats.
Yeah, and I do have cats, and cats are easier. Yes or no?
Yeah, for the most part. Well, I don't know because they don't speak English. So when I tell them to shut up and they keep going meow meow meow.
That's because you can't really tell cats what to do.
Right. That's why I like kids.
Oh my goodness. But anywho, it's when it comes to kids, and I still don't. I mean, my kids, they're so they're iffy. Sometimes I feel like, hey, No, not really. Our kids are good, and our kids are, they're a lot more fun now that the youngest is 8, and then he's about to be 9, and then James is 11, and Sam's about to be 13. So there's a lot more things that we can do with them now that we couldn't do when they were children, and they're a lot more independent now,
Right.
And we've sort of like already put in the hard time, and we've gotten through the phases where they were super just absolutely dependent on us for every little tiny thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, now it's a lot easier.
Right. So one thing I want to give as a little guideline, because when we were growing up, and even our parents before us, they did not have books out there that really spoke about parenting. Parenting books. They didn't really have those kind of things
Parenting
out
for
there.
Dummies.
I mean, I know they had, Parenting for Dummies. That's funny. I know that occasionally people would talk about Dr. Spock and what he had to say about kids and all that kind of stuff. And I didn't really get into him too much. But one thing I do know is that in my learning from other families and my learning from my family and everything, I picked up, a few guidelines that I followed since we've been parenting, and it's worked for us. I like how you spoke about the friendship, parents being the kids' friends and not being the kids' friends or whatever. I want everybody to chime in. I want you to leave a comment at the bottom. Leave a comment. I appreciate all the likes, but I need you to leave a comment, because the whole purpose of conversations with Brian and Sarah is for us to get perspective on the topics that we're talking about. And when you have a different perspective, you can see things from another person's view or another, just another view that can help you and enhance you in your life and in your parenting.
Right. And disclaimer, obviously everything that applies to us or that we prefer or that we have found that has worked for us may or may not work for you. But that's the beauty of a conversation is that you can take what you need, and try it out. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Hey, everything, there's no one size fits all for any of the situations that we talk about, or, there's just no one size fits all. You have to, then that's the tricky thing is that, you can't just take something that someone else does and expect it to work for you 100% of the time.
Right.
You have to be engaged enough in your own life and in your own relationships and in your own mind and engaged with yourself to know and to be able to discern what is working and what isn't working, and to see how you can make adjustments, for the best outcome for all, right?
True.
Because the goal is we all win, right?
Right.
All right.
So what I want to say is, and I want to read this right off. I just jotted one thing down. I jotted a few things down. I'm going to read one of them. And it says, remember, they don't know as much as we do. When we give them instructions, they don't have our information. I know when we talk about raising kids and parenting kids and stuff like that, and we tell them to do something, and they'll go do it wrong. And we may show them how to do it, and then they do it wrong again. The reason is they don't have the experience of doing what we tell them. And so they have to gain that experience. They have to gain that maturity. They have to gain that in, I'm trying not to lose my thought. Y'all know what happens. Get those senior moments,
This is the second senior moment in 10 minutes.
Well, I told you I'm 26 and a half.
Oh, man. Unacceptable.
But yeah, they don't have the information that we have. They don't have it. So we need to be patient with our kids, but also sometimes walk them through these things of life. Whether it be cleaning the toilet, walk them through it, because they're going to clean it and they ain't going to put no kind of cleaning substance in there. They're just going to go in there and they're going to wipe it down and swish it around and no cleaning nowhere. You got to show them again. You need to use this. My son now, he's of age where we got him doing, certain chores around the house that he needs to do, my oldest, and everything. And for the life,
they all have things that they do.
Yeah, they all got things to do, but for the life of me, I don't know why they keep doing it the way I didn't tell them to do it. So, if they were my best friend, I'd be like, oh, don't worry about it, Doc. I got this for you. We buds, and everything. But no, as a parent, I got to tell them, you need to do this right, and you're going to do it now. You're going to stop your video games. See, this is what parents have to do. And some people are not comfortable with that.
Right.
Because they felt like their parents did them wrong. And in some situations, their parents may have done them wrong.
Sure.
But their parents should have told them they're sorry.
Parents aren't perfect.
They're not perfect. And their parents should have told them that they're sorry. But they didn't. But even in that, you still have to train. I don't want to use the word train. You still have to guide your kids through. So remember, when you give them information or give them instructions and everything, since they don't have all the wealth of knowledge that you do, you have to be patient with them.
Yeah, they don't have the experience. They don't have previous experiences to draw on to make, other connections to make the job easier. And then too, some of the ways that you choose to do things, maybe there's a better way or a more efficient way or just a different way of doing it to achieve the same goal. But it might be different from the step-by-step that you gave them. So you have to provide the guidance while at the same time allowing them room to figure things out for themselves. Because their life is probably going to be different from our life. They're different people. So, certain things you got to figure out for yourself.
And that's something that I had to learn, that they got to figure some things out for themselves.
Yeah.
Because me, I was like, you do what I say and everything come out right. Well, yeah, they probably do what I say, but they still didn't learn anything.
Yeah.
They got to figure things out as they go.
And that's an interesting point when you're talking about that is like the whole helicopter parent thing where parents don't ever want their kids to suffer. They don't ever want their kids to have that disappointment or to have their feelings hurt or to have to face any type of adversity, which is, I guess on paper that sounds good. Like, I don't ever want you to go through any of these terrible things, which obviously no one wants their kids to go through terrible, hurtful, situations per se.
Right.
However, you learn a lot. You can learn a lot, right? And so for us, like part of our like training and our guiding our kids and parenting our kids is teaching them how to navigate through these situations. Like our oldest son plays soccer and sometimes they win, sometimes they don't. However, the point is to still show up with the same intensity, the same excitement, the same, or at least be working toward that. Like, not just giving up because it's not going the way, the dream that you had where you scored all the goals and whatever.
Let me tell you something. Let me, since you brought up my son playing soccer, let me tell you something that I thought was crazy. Now, for all of y'all that are on the podcast and that y'all are soccer moms and dads, that know us and everything, you're about to get a little taste of Brian.
Give him a little taste of what you did.
So, when my son was younger and he would play soccer, if they lost the game, guess what? They got a trophy. The winners got trophies.
Participation.
And the losers got trophies. Why? Because in California, they decided that they didn't want the kids to feel bad.
Well, that's everywhere. It's not just California.
It's everywhere?
Yeah.
That's crazy. No, you need to know what it feels like to lose because losing is a part of life.
Yeah.
And what I did with my son is I told him, you never lose, son. What you do, you learn. Yeah. You may not have gotten, the winning cup or the winning point or this kind of thing, and you lost, so to say, but you really didn't lose. You learned something from them.
It's an opportunity for
you learned their strategies. You learned how strong they was. You learned what their weaknesses was. Now go home, figure out a counter strategy, get yourself stronger, and then when you come back, they face a stronger, better opponent.
Right.
Now I think that's better than just saying, well, here's a trophy anyway, guy. No, you don't need to celebrate losing.
Or blaming everything on the coach.
Right. Coach don't know what he's doing.
Coach don't know what he's doing.
They cheated. That's what they say out there. They cheated.
Yeah.
No, they won.
Yeah.
They may have did a few things, but you did some things too.
Right.
Yeah,
because it's important to have the right, frame of mind to be able to look at things as a challenge, but an opportunity to grow. And, there are life lessons in all of these things, right? Like we had, there was, a season where they were losing and they're doing everything right. They're playing well. They're just not winning in terms of goals, scored. So there again, in life, sometimes you're doing the right thing. You're doing all the right things. You have the right attitude. You're doing everything that you know to do, tips and tricks and everything else. And sometimes you just still, it doesn't work out. The stars don't align. It just isn't the right moment or whatever. And all of the right things that you're doing still don't seem to be paying off.
Right.
But the point is, you keep going. It turns around eventually. Like, live long enough, you're going to have all of the ups and downs that life has to bring. But an important part of that is knowing how to be able to navigate through those and to not lose hope and faith and your positivity that everything's going to work out. It's crappy right now, but it's not going to last forever.
Keep it pushing.
Keep it moving.
Keep it pushing. Now I want to bring up something. My wife we were talking, we've had this conversation quite a few times, dealing with parenting and parenting styles. She had to get used to me, I had to get used to her. That's all a part of marriage. You know what I'm saying? I like to do something, she don't like that. That's all a part of marriage. That's why you have the conversation. So that y'all can have some type of common ground to come about. Now, what I want you to do, two things before I go into she made a statement about we do the best we can. I'm going to go into some of that. But two things I want you to do. Number one, I want you to not only like the page, but I want you to share it with all of your friends. I want to reach everybody that don't go to church and that do go to church. I want to reach your mama, your mama's cousin. Everybody. I want you to share. And on our YouTube page, I want you to subscribe, because I do believe that these conversations that we're having is going to open up something in your household, in your family, and you can piggyback off of what we're doing and have your own discussions
have your own
about.
Conversations,
right.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. Having your own conversations. It might have been taboo in your house. Your mama and your daddy didn't talk.
Right.
You never heard them talk or sat down and hold hands or whatever have you. You didn't see this in your household. But guess what? It does happen. It is real. This is 2009. This is not old and fogey. 2019. Amen. Yes. So, anyways.
Captain America strikes again.
Leave me alone. Okay, so I want you to subscribe. I want you to like. But I do want you to comment.
Yes.
So that we can read some of these comments. I won't read your name. I'll just read the comment, and then we'll comment on it so that we can all get perspective. Okay, here we go. We do the best we can. That's what my wife say. We already covered back in the day, there were no parenting books, really. Most parents did not pass down much, if any, info concerning the how-tos. What do you mean by the how-tos? The how-tos were how to treat a woman, how to discipline your kid, how to help your children walk through the vicissitudes of life at any age. I know that's my word, ain't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. How to do that stuff. Parents didn't teach us how to do that. They just told us to go to school, get an education. If you can, go to college. Baby, be the best you can be. You know what I'm saying? And that was great encouragement. But now, in this day, we know more. And so we need to instruct and not only just talk about it, but be about it with our kids. You know what I'm saying? How to do this, how to clean, how to iron, how to cook.
They're like real life skills.
Real life skills, because they took it out to schools. What was it, home ec?
Yeah.
When I was in high school, they had home ec. I wish I had took it out. I'd be sewing. I would have saved myself a lot of money, the sewing and the cooking and stuff that they learned. Mini pants out of split.
I don't believe you.
Come on, man.
I don't believe you.
Why?
Especially about the cooking thing.
Why?
Mr. Waffle House. Because how many times, right? Because when you were at the Waffle House and you had to know how to cook everything on that menu.
Here we go.
But at home, you can fix a mean bowl of cereal, and that's everything else is like all of a sudden not.
No. Well, here we go. Any man.
Oh my God.
That does what he do as his profession. When they come home, do they want to do that?
Does anyone want to do that? Like, I mean, this is just like basic sugar honey iced tea right here. We're like, I mean, does anyone, I mean, okay, granted, some people do like cooking and everything like that.
Thank you.
But it's not about wanting to do it. It's the fact that someone has to do it. So,
Well, just so
What?
y'all know, I cooked chicken tonight.
reluctantly, reluctantly,
And it was great.
it was good.
And she loved it.
It was good.
Just so you know.
Just so you know.
The how-tos. The how-tos. Here we go. Children are born into our world. Our decision was we would not revolve our world around them. Okay, here we go. Let me make sense about this. When me and my wife and we talked, we said that in the beginning part of our marriage, we said that our lives, me and her, will not revolve around our kids. Our kids is not going to be set up on this magical, beautiful, godly pedestal, and we're there to serve every beck and move and everything that they do. No, no, no.
Even though that's what happened.
Our decision. No, not
Even
really.
though that's what happens, especially as
No, you have to give them their time. You have to give them their stuff and everything. But me and my wife still do stuff together, regardless of the kids. Our decision was that we will have our kids revolve around our life. They fit into our plan. Until they get older, then they're going to have their own plans.
Right.
And that's fine.
Well, and that was the thing. It was like, well, we don't want to have everything we do revolving around the kids, and everything we do is
Right.
about the kids, for the kids, with the kids, in the kids, and beside the kids. Like, because at some point, as they get older, at some point, the goal is, right, that they become these, wonderful, self-sufficient independent
Right.
people, and they go away. And so, like, at the end, when that point comes, if all we have done is about the kids, then what happens when the kids aren't there anymore?
Right. What happens
What are we
to the
gonna talk about?
marriage when the kids aren't there? What happens is, and I've seen this many a times, what happens is that the parents grow apart.
Right.
How many of you know people like that? Everything was about the kids, and that's fine. When you invest in your kids, do that. When you give to your kids, do that.
Yeah.
When you help them to reach their goals and accomplish, do that. But never forget that, Brian, you got a wife. She got needs. She got goals that she want to accomplish with you. Y'all got a thing that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't set that on the side just because you got kids.
Right.
And it should
It
be
has to be
every now and then.
priority.
Right.
The marriage has to be a priority, because
Exactly.
there's lessons in that for the kids too, in seeing their parents honoring and preferring each other, and in making time for each other. That just shows them healthy ways to build and maintain relationships. Like,
Right.
yeah, I remember. So there was a lady. It was a long time ago. That was on the Oprah show. And she made a comment, something about how, like, I love my husband more than I love my kids, or something like that. And she had so much backlash. Like, people were like livid, because they're like, "What? How can you say such a thing?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah. I mean, I totally get that. Like, here's the thing: is like, when you choose your spouse, there's a lot of thought that goes into it. There's a lot of preparation. There's a lot of decisions that have to be made about, wow, this person really is the one that I really want to spend the rest of my life with.
Come on now.
When you have baby, first of all, you don't know what you're gonna get, because genetics, right? So you don't know. You don't know if it's gonna be a boy. You don't know if it's gonna be a girl. Are they gonna be a nice, kid that's agreeable and everything else, or are they gonna be
Right. A tyrant.
a tyrant? That's not what I was gonna say. However, we're keeping it PG or G rated right now.
We don't want to get kicked off. We just
don't
got
wanna-
started.
I don't know if we're ready to start censoring yet with a little boop and a little
Right.
boop, but anyhow, you don't know what you're gonna get when these little kids come out. And so that's the thing. It's like you don't choose your children. You don't choose their temperament. You don't choose, any of those things. So you kind of are stuck with whatever you get, right? I mean, this is a terrible way to put it, I'm sure, so don't hate me. But anyhow, my point is, so you don't choose your children.
Right.
You chose your spouse. And so for me, it's like, yeah, I mean, my kids are great. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I love my kids, right? My kids are great. I do love them, obviously. I'm their mother. I'm not 100% heartless. But given the choice between, just hanging out with them or doing, you know what I mean? I would prefer to be with my husband because I picked him and he's an adult and we have fun together. And so that's important. We have plenty of time with our kids. Like, please don't comment and be like, these are horrible parents.
Especially while we're talking about parenting.
Right. Like, you're horrible. I hate you. Thanks.
So check it out. Moving right along. I want to talk about some of my pet peeves, and I want to throw them out there. And I'm going to throw them out there. And I want you to comment on it because it's important. Everybody got pet peeves about something.
Sure.
When it comes to parenting. These are my pet peeves, and I want you to take a listen to them. And I want you to comment on Mr. Brian Oliver's pet peeves. Children making decisions the parent's supposed to make.
An example?
Johnny, do you want to go to school? No. What did you think Johnny was gonna say? Let me give you another one. Mom's in the kitchen. Mom's making dinner. And mom asked Skylar, "Would you like dinner?" "No, I want cereal." In my household, this is my household. I'm not telling you what to do in your household. If mom spent the time to cook dinner or dad spent the time to cook dinner, you're going to eat it.
Right.
You're going to eat it. You're not going to fix a bowl of oatmeal. You're not going to grab a Snickers. You're not going to pop Skittles in your mouth for dinner. That's not dinner. I'm not going to make a whole separate meal for you or allow my wife to make a whole separate meal for you, and we just cook the whole meal. Mm-hmm. So one of my pet peeves is children making decisions. Because, no, they don't want to eat vegetables. You didn't either. But vegetables...
A lot of people still don't want to eat them.
Right. But vegetables are important to the body, especially when they're growing up. So, yes, they need to eat them. Mm-hmm. And no, sweet potatoes is not a vegetable. Candy yams, no. Candy yams, the way we make them.
Right. I was going to say.
The way we make candy yams, no, that's not a vegetable.
Yams and sweet potatoes in and of themselves are very nutrient dense.
Right. But the way we do it.
However, when you coat them in butter and add,
come on now,
marshmallows, I mean,
right.
It's amazing, but nutritionally it's sort of...
Mac and cheese is not a vegetable. I'm just throwing that out there. Comment on it. Mac and cheese is not a vegetable. So I'm just saying and there's other things besides food where I've seen parents allow the children to make the decision that should be a parental decision.
Right.
And my opinion and standpoint on it is that kids don't have the resources to make certain decisions. Right. Yeah, they can do clothes, when they get a certain age, 7, 8, 9, 10, picking out some clothes and stuff like that.
Well, so a good example of this, like what you're talking about, is when we changed schools to the school that the younger two are going to now. We had an opportunity to have our kids go to a charter school here locally in Pacific Grove. It's a great school. We really like it. They just have a different focus than like a traditional school. Mm-hmm. Well, they're a charter for one thing, but it's also like a Waldorf-inspired type of curriculum and school setting. So I don't want to get into all that right now, but if you're curious, you can Google it. And the school is Monterey Bay Charter School, which we love. Go Gnomes. Mm-hmm. So it's waitlisted, of course. And so we had done the application. And so long story short, it was like the end of January of fifth grade year. And we got an email. We have a spot. It would be immediate. They would have to change, it was for Samuel when he was in 5th grade. He would need to come pretty much immediately. So of course, we talked to him about it, and it was a fight because not a fight, but it wasn't an easy decision. He didn't want to go. He didn't want to leave his friends. He didn't. I mean, there's so many things, right? No one really. I mean, most people don't like changing schools, and
Changing
by
jobs.
the time you get to the end of fifth grade, like you the social anxiety is there a little bit more, so you don't want to have to make new friends and all that good stuff. So we talked to him about it, and we laid all these things out, and we tried to put it in terms that he would understand, i.e., soccer terms. And at some point we said, like. And for me, it was like, okay, I don't want to say you're going. Like, no, we're not even going to talk about it. No more questions, no more argument. Like, you're just going to go. Like,
which is what our parents would have did.
Right. Which, we didn't want it to be like that. We wanted him to voice his opinions, his concerns, his feelings about it. So it wasn't like, you're going, end of story. But it was kind of like, yeah, you're going. Like, I hear you. I understand all of your concerns. But at the end of the day, as parents, we have a broader, base of knowledge and experiences to draw from, as we, have said a few times already. And at the end of the day, it's in your best interest in terms of the quality of your education and the breadth of your education. And yeah, so it was a decision that we made, and he was mad at us for a while. And eventually he was fine. And now the younger two go there, and they're just having, a great experience. And so, things like that were like, yes, we want to talk to you about it. Yes, we need, but at the same time, again, we have to give you the talk about how we came to this decision. So that they can understand, so that they can learn, thought process and how to deduce things and how to, come to big decisions like that.
Yeah. Okay. I'll give y'all a couple of more, and baby, I'll let you throw one or two in. We're going to wind it down a little bit because we don't want to keep you up here for hours. It's not a church service.
And we're good. It's only been like, we're good.
We good?
We're good, man.
Okay. Here's a pet peeve of mine. Y'all gonna love this one. You ready? Children hitting their parents in the face saying no.
Yeah, not cool.
Have y'all ever seen that? They got the kid, they pick the kid up. Come on, Hunter. Come on. And then they, no! That! No! Ah! They give you the mean scream. Not because they're hurting, but because they don't want to do what you're telling them to do. And then you're like, don't do that, cut that out. Or the parent just put them on the floor like in the supermarket and just leave them and walk away. Like that's supposed to do something. It does something to me.
Yeah, that's not cool.
It's not cool.
It's not cool.
You must teach your children, because you can always tell the ones that don't receive any instructions or guidance at home, because when they get out in public, they do the same thing they do at home, and then the parents act like, why are you acting like this? Because they act like that at home. Yeah, they smack you in the face at home, they hit you at home, they run, they give you that, no! They give you that at home, and then when you get out in public, you act like this is such a surprise. No, it's not a surprise to you.
Right.
And it's those kind of tyrants, it's those kind of what are those people called? It's those kind of Unabombers.
Wow.
That
all the way there.
All the way there. Terrorists, that's what I want to say. It's those kind of little terrorists that grow up, and some of them grow up, I guess they become something or whatever, but they still got that thing in them. And that's something that you have to guide kids into getting better control of their emotions and how they express their emotions and all that kind of stuff. And I know it's a process, but if you ain't doing it at home, it's definitely going to show up.
But I think it's important that kids understand, and we've talked about this before too, where like, it's important for kids to know that what they do has real life consequences.
Real life consequences.
If you hit somebody in the face, I mean, everybody's not just gonna like kindly bat your little arm down and pat you on the head and be like, "Oh, it's okay, he's just upset." No, they're gonna either strike back, or there's any number of things that can happen as you get older. And when kids don't understand, kids who don't ever understand that there are consequences, real life consequences, grow up to be adults who don't care about freaking consequences either.
Don't care about it at all.
And no one, I mean, who
and
wants
we got plenty of examples in the world of that.
Yeah, let's not.
I won't. But we got plenty of examples in the world of people that didn't get what they needed at home. Yeah. And we see the results, we see the fruit of it in their older years, and it's not pretty.
Yeah.
It's not pretty. It makes, and especially when they get into like an authoritative position, oh my God, it just hurts all of us. You know, what was that joke the dude used to say, 2 chops to the throat? Some people that I see in authority and they act like little brats, man, I just want to give 2 chops to the throat. They're like, man, for real? You acting like that? You acting like a 2-year-old. You know, pitching fits and, you know, and it's not just men, it's women. And you see it all around. Some of y'all bosses may be acting like that. You know,
right,
it's just not cool.
Bring it back. Parenting. Bring it back.
Okay,
you're triggered. Yeah. You're hashtag triggered right now.
Right. I'm starting to get depressed talking about them people. Anyways. So, not cool. Teach your kids at home. What you teach your kids at home will show up when y'all go out. You know, I can't say how many times we just been eating in a restaurant and some strange people or strange couple.
Strangers. Not strange people.
Strangers will stop by our table.
People we don't know.
Somebody said I talk country today. Do I talk country? I don't think I talk country. Anyway, hit that like button.
Type country if you agree.
But they say that our kids have been where the most respectful or polite kids that they've seen in a long time.
Yeah. Because kids in restaurants be acting a monkey, and it frankly makes your meal less enjoyable when your kids don't know how to act in public. So that's right. Okay, and for the record, our kids are not perfect.
Nope.
We are not under any sort of delusion or illusion or anything else that our kids are perfect little angels who never do anything. Our kids
I just got one today.
Typical, healthy, super energetic boys. A lot of energy. A lot. So they're not perfect. And we aren't perfect as parents. However,
right. Our
kids do know that if they get the death look...
She said the death look.
I'm not above, or I mean, I haven't had to do it in a really long time because we did so much when they were little, but I have not been above pinching.
Right.
It's discreet and effective, and it hurts. So pinching.
Pinching. So, train them up. Guidelines. Do it at home. It will show out. You know, and we want to know, what do you do with your kids when they're at home? What do you do? You know, if they're showing out or showing off, you know, put it in the comments. We want to see. We want to get some more perspective. We got a 12-year-old, a 10-year-old, an 8-year-old, you know, and this conversation that we're having I think it's a great conversation because so many people do so many things now. So we want different perspective so that we can share that with our audience. You know, and bring about that conversation.
Yeah. And it's good, too, to talk about parents or just to talk in general because it's good to know that whatever you're going through, you're not alone. Not alone. You're not the only one who feels this way, or you're not I thought I was the only one who felt like that. I didn't know anybody else would understand what we go through as parents, or what you go through as a couple, or as a mom, or as a, it's always good to know that you have that support and other people feel the same way or have the same, struggle, because it can make you feel, especially if you're looking at all social media and everything, like everyone's posting these, perfect pictures of how beautiful like everything is or whatever, and selfie. I mean, everything's very staged and everything's very beautiful, and and families are beautiful and everything like that, which I mean is great. But you don't know how long it took to get that one picture that's actually good of everyone, or how many tears were shed before that by either the kids or the parents. But so I mean, it's just good to know that other people are going through the same thing.
So you're not alone. When we first got started, and we first had Samuel, our first son, I know one thing that helped me. He helped me. He was crying. He was in the crib in our room, and he was crying, and he was hungry. But I did not want to get out of bed because I was
at
sleepy.
work, for the record.
She was at work. I was sleepy. He's crying. It's crazy. Now, Brian was like, just be quiet, cut that out, kind of thing. But you can't do that with a little baby.
You can, but
they don't understand English, so he won't get no point. So I had to get up out my bed and I had to go make his milk. And when I gave it to him, I had him in my arms and I was giving him his milk. And he was looking up at me with the little puppy dog eyes. And I was just struck. I was just in love. I was in love with my son anyway. But I fell for the love and everything. But and this is what parenting will do. Parenting will mature you as a person. Now, what are you saying?
If you allow it.
Right, if you allow it. Because that moment right there showed me some selfishness that was in my heart. I ain't talking about y'all, I'm talking about me. Some selfishness that was in my heart that I didn't know anything about. Now, would I have let my child starve? No. I would never let my child starve. But that day, I just didn't want to get out the bed. I was tired. I got home from work late or whatever. But he showed me selfishness in my heart. And from that day forward, after learning that lesson, I matured that day forward. And not only did he not have to worry about that again, but other aspects in my life, I stepped up. As the young folks say today, I leveled up because of that one moment in my life where I discovered that there was some selfishness that I did not need to have in my life.
Right. And that's one thing that about you that I have always appreciated is the fact that you have always been great, and not just about parenting, but about so many things, where if there's an area that you have identified or someone helps you to identify or talks to you about things that where there's an area for growth, you've always been really great about that self-evaluation and wanting to embrace those things, even when it hasn't been comfortable, or maybe you were embarrassed because of
because I get embarrassed a lot.
Oh yeah, someone calling you out, which that's a scary place to be. But you've always been great, and you've always stepped up to the challenge, and you've always risen to the occasion. And I mean, you're a much better parent, from day one to now. I mean, it's yeah. So thank you for that. And I mean, the boys, are certainly, I've told you this before, but the boys are very blessed to have you as their dad, because they get to see you, making those changes. And, we talk about those efforts, with them too, which I think is great. So
check this out. My wife is giving me some thumbs up and some stars, but she's not just doing this for the camera. She does this a lot. When she talks to me about things that I'm doing or improving in and stuff like that, because we have conversations with each other, And I want to share something that she did. My wife, I don't know how many years we have been married. Probably at least 2. It had to have been at least 4 years that we were married. And my wife had said that she didn't feel like, I think she wrote me a letter or a text message, and then we talked about it. She didn't feel like she was doing the marriage right. She didn't feel like she was treating the kids right. She felt like she could have done better by me. And she was just all around not happy with herself, how she fit in the mix. Me, I was looking at her like, what are you talking about? I thought she was great. But she didn't feel comfortable with herself on how she was in the marriage and in the relationship with the kids. So what my wife did, she said, I'm going to work on me. I don't need to work on y'all guys, because y'all are who y'all are. I'm going to work on me. And my wife worked on herself, and she made herself, she didn't just level up. She multiplied up. She exponed up.
Alternate universe.
Right. She, how y'all always say, from level to level, dimension to dimension. Yeah. She did that. And although I thought she was great, she was, I didn't see her lagging or slacking or whatever have you. No more than just normal human stuff or whatever. Yeah. But that wasn't no big deal to me. But she wasn't happy with herself. Mm-hmm. And so she leveled up like way, that it was a noticeable difference and stuff. And we had conversations about that. Yeah. It's all about you working on yourself. If you don't worry about the other person, I'm off the parenting thing, but this is the marriage thing. Don't worry about the other person. You work on you. Yeah. Yeah. Because when you work on you and you make them happy, guess what? If they love you, they're going to make you happy. That's all I'm saying about that. Yeah. We did marriage last week. This is about parenting. Yeah. And that goes with your kids, though. Yeah. Your kids may be acting crazy. Love them. Love them. And loving them don't mean that I love you. Mm-hmm. No, loving means guiding them. Yeah. Loving means disciplining them. Loving means
tough love.
Tough love, training them and pushing them and promoting them and allowing them to be who they are, but also pushing them to be better than what they think that they can be, because they can. Yeah.
But I think so. Going back to that, like I have always and often felt like you were a better parent. Like you took to parenting way easier than I personally did.
That's because I wanted 9 kids before we got married.
Glad we got that straight before we got married, because that was one of the first conversations we had after we met. Was like, well, he's like, do you like kids? Because I at one point I wanted 12 kids, and I was like, well, how many do you want now? Because this all could end right now. Because 12, no. But motherhood, the transition to motherhood was, and again, we've talked about this before, but that was a really hard transition for me. Like, I don't know that you can ever really be prepared for all the things that go along with motherhood, but like for me personally, it was a really, really hard transition. And then we had, all 3 basically. Mm-hmm. So Sam was born in August of 2006. Mm-hmm. And then James was born March of 2008. And then Dylan June 10. Of 2010. So that's all 4 kids within
3 kids.
Oh yeah, 3 kids.
You trying to give me a 4th one?
No. Aha. No.
Come on now.
No.
Y'all heard it. We got it on tape.
Shut up, because you're the one who almost drove off the road thinking about it the other day because I said me and pregnant in the same sentence, and you thought things were happening, and it's not. But nonetheless, we had all these kids in a short amount of time, and we also moved like halfway across the country during that time. My dad passed away during this time, so it was a lot that happened in that short amount of time. And with all these goddamn kids, man, it was a lot for me. It was a lot of having to like reevaluate a lot of things and come to terms with a lot of things in terms of like, because I'm a person who likes things to be, relatively quiet and peaceful. And these guys are 100% the opposite of that. And I don't want to totally squash all their dreams and their creativity and the things that they want to do. So that was, so I didn't want to do that, but at the same time I was having a really hard time like adjusting to the noise level for one thing. And when kids are little, it's a lot harder and it's a lot more, overwhelming than it is when they're older. So it took a while. But, thankfully, Big Daddy over here, had more patience, had enough patience, I think, for both of us for a while. And so I was able to confide in him, and he was never judgmental, like, well, yeah, you need to get yourself together because this is what a mother's supposed to be like. And, he never went down that road with me because, to be totally honest with you, I was already feeling pretty crappy about myself, on my own. I certainly didn't need anything extra. So, he was really great about just being supportive and, trying to figure out ways how he could help me to be able to kind of just come into it.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah.
We're going to get some t-shirts. Somebody brought it to my attention. Team Oliver.
Team Oliver.
Order them.
Oh my gosh.
Order them. That's what we're going to wear next time. on the next podcast or whatever. So we're coming to the end. We'll probably do another one, just like we're gonna do another one on the other on marriage. But I want y'all to comment and share. And on the platforms that we have, like YouTube, the ones that you can subscribe and share. We want to get the word out because there's other aspects of this podcast that's going to be happening probably towards the end of the year where we're going to be doing some things. I don't want to let the cat out the bag yet, but I want everybody to know, about what we're doing because you're going to get a chance to participate in these particular events. So be looking out. Mm-hmm. And I'm Brian.
I'm Sara.
She got it. And we're here on Conversations. We love y'all. Y'all take care. Don't forget to comment. Let us know what you think. Let us know about the material. Put your comments in there so we can share them. Thank you.